Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the Citroën BX. I am getting closer and closer to finishing off this project so that I can start to drive this thing. The rust is pretty much done. I'm not going to make more videos about rust fixes on this. That at least is not my plan because there's not really anything left. I still need to treat some stuff, paint some stuff, seal up some stuff, but overall it's pretty much done. You can see the repairs I made in the previous video is painted. And yeah, it's getting ready to be reassembled. But what I want to do in this video is servicing the engine. I want to change the cam belt. I'm not going to change the water pump. This car got, is it 60,000 kilometers on the clock or 70? The cam belt has been changed at least twice. But the cam belt is old. But I presume the water pump is maybe changed those 2 times. Or worst case, it's the original one, but it only got 70,000 kilometers on the clock. It'll be fine. And I'm also trying to keep the cost down a little bit. As many has mentioned, it's not worth the amount of time and money I put into it, but I like this car, so I'm gonna do it anyway. But some corners I will cut, and the water pump is one of them, because I don't have any reason to believe there's anything wrong with that. But I want to change that cam belt because it's so old, it looks a little bit scary. And I also want to change the oil filter. I want to change the spark plugs. And I don't think I will do much else than that. As mentioned, the cam belt looks a little bit scary, and I have removed the cover, and that's the reason why I can see it. It got these lines, and it feels just a little bit stretched. It's probably fine, but I'm gonna change it because I won't be able to sleep at night otherwise. And as far as I remember, the 1.4 actually can hit the valves, even though it's just an 8V, if it breaks. Oh, I got a leak up here now also. That's from the pump area. I got 2 LHM leaks that I need to fix. One at the pump and one at the brake dossier, I think it's called. The return for that is perished. I have to make a repair on that. I can get a new hose, but it's too expensive for what I'm intending to do at the moment. In order to get good access to the lower end of the cam belt, I need to remove that. I think that the belt is a bit loose on the hydraulic pump. I need to look at that also. That's the first leak, so I need to see if that is just loose or if I maybe need to change the seal on that. It's very loose, so it probably just needs to be tightened up a bit. Yeah, so I'm gonna see if it still leaks, and if it does, it's probably the rubber seal in there. I'm just gonna dry that up and keep an eye out for that next time I start it up. But what I want to attempt to do now is to remove this. Firstly, what I want to do is to undo this in here so I can remove the tension on the belt for the hydraulic pump. There we go. And I should be able to just move the entire pump in to remove the tension on the belt, so that I can remove that, like so. The generator is up here. I need to undo the tension on that also. It's nice to work on so far in the engine bay. Nothing is really stuck. Everything is not that dirty either. It's just nice. There we go. Yep, oh, funky design. Yep. And then this from the bottom, like that. So I want to spin the engine over until that hole right there aligns with the hole in the cylinder head. And there's also a hole down here that goes into the bell housing, where a piece of copper wire or brake line should fit. So now I'm just going to spin the engine over until that slides in, but I don't have to attempt before that hole over there aligns. The camshaft turns twice for each crankshaft revolution, so there will be one place where the hole aligns, but the hole in the crankshaft does not align. And now we're coming up to that place where it should align. So I'm going to grab that copper line, push it against the flywheel and spin slowly. There we go, it slides in. And with that in, an M10 bolt should fit into this and lock this one also. And it does. So now the camshaft and the crankshaft is locked, and I can go ahead and undo the tension and remove the cam belt. And the tensioner is over here. I'm going to remove that completely. It got a bit of surface corrosion on it. It looks like very new part with surface corrosion, but I need to make sure that the bearing in there is all right. Remove that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. It's just surface corrosion. It feels tight and nice, so that can be reused. So it cleaned up pretty nicely. There is no feelable corrosion on it anymore, so it will be okay to go. I'm not calling it ideal, but it will be all right. And then I'm going to feed in the new belt. But this end needs to be tight, and then I can set the tension afterwards. By the way, I did also spin the water pump. It feels great. I'm not worried about that either. Everything seems nice. The belt is tight. I'm going to tighten up the belt tensioner until I can twist it just about 90 degrees on the tight side. I think that's correct, about correct tension. But I'm going to remove the locking pins now and spin the engine over a couple of times and reset them, the pins I mean, to see if it's correct. Otherwise it's out of tooth. There we go, it's locked. And let's see if this one also slides in. Perfect, it does. And the tension still seems very good. And yes, I know I'm being cheap by not changing the tensioner pulley and the water pump, but as mentioned, they are not that old, at least they are not that used. It's a risk that I'm willing to take, because if it fails, then who's going to fix it? Myself. But what I'm going to do now is just to fit everything back together, then take you back for the first startup with the new cam belt. Hopefully it will not explode. Then I want to get a little bit of heat into the engine so I can drain the very old oil out, put a new oil filter in, new oil, and then that should be good to go. There we go, I got the cover back on and everything is mounted. The belt for the generator and the pump is also on. I even put the sticker on with the date and the kilometers for the cam belt change. It's 82,000. I was talking about 60. It's 82,000. It's still a very low miler, but it's not 60,000. So yeah. But I think it should be ready now to start it up, and I'm gonna do that and put my exhaust extractor on. It's always a little bit exciting to start up a car for the first time after cam belt change. So let's see. Let's hope. That was just the exhaust extractor falling off. And I had a minor heart attack. The hydraulic pump is not tight enough because it's slipping. The belt on the hydraulic pumps needs to be very tight to work. I'm surprised that it worked before because it was very loose and probably slipping, but it's not working right now at least. So I will have to do something about that. Oh, it is very tight. I must have forgotten to tighten it up. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just gonna retighten it. It sounds all right. There is a bit of a whine sound coming from either the generator or the hydraulic pump. I'm pretty sure it's not from the cam belt or from the water pump, so yeah. The engine is now hot and I can drain out the oil, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so that's a bit tight. Ooh. There we go. Nice. Did you get oil on the lens? Yep. This camera is sure living a hard life. Was probably expecting a life with an influencer who likes to eat ice cream on the beach, then ended up in welding dust and oil being flinged all over the place. I am gonna oil up the new filter before it goes on. There we go. And then a new magnetic oil plug. And 3.5 liters of fresh oil. And then I know some of you guys noticed this, the oil pen is broken. I bought a brand new one. There we go. So it's the next day and I've actually been working on this for an hour or something like that, just doing small minor stuff. I hope I have fixed the leak on the return line on the brake dossier. I won't really know for sure until it's had some pressure in it and so on. But it was just a return line that was perished, so I replaced the perished part with a hard line. It would be nice to just change the entire thing, but that's not in the cards right now. And also this over here, I didn't tell you about this, but the repair over here was not as bad as on the other side, but it's fixed now. And I can put the wing back on later today, on this side at least. But what I want to do now is to change the spark plugs. I'm not going to change the wires and so on. I might do that in the future because they do look a little bit tatty. But I haven't bought them, so I'm just going to put in the new plugs for now. And I'm going to do the rest of them. So with that done, I want to reassemble this side of the car. I want to put the wing back on. I want to plug the holes down there and give it some rust protection in there also. Before that, I would like to remove the brake pads and rough up the surface a little bit, because these discs are not looking great, but I hope that they will turn out all right with a bit of heavy braking, because they are brand new pretty much. They are just rusty. And they cannot be pitted for the MOT, and I don't think they are. I just think they need to be used for a bit. So I'm going to remove the pads, which are also looking brand new, and then hopefully just rough them up a bit, and it will be good for many kilometers again. Hopefully. So cleaned up the brake surface, and they look so nice. With this cleaned up, it will have better bite and will bite into the disc a little better and hopefully clean it up. So gonna do that on both of them, of course, and on both sides also. And then I think that this will turn out all right. Again, it's a lanolin protection agent used for oil rigs under seawater, so it's perfect for this. And then put in these plugs. Next up, I want to fit the wing on this side. This is the good wing, which is not great either. There's a bump there that I eventually will try to fix. A bit of rust there and some color correction, but overall the condition of this wing is pretty good. So I'm gonna fit that back on the car. So with that attached, I'm gonna go ahead and attach the other one, but I have to do some stuff to the other one beforehand. And I just got a mild scare because, as mentioned before, it's over there, the white one, the new one Matthias sent me. He gave this to me, which was really nice of him, but it was quite expensive to send here. He paid for that also, but I got a little bit scared because there is difference between the front wings between phase 1 and phase 2, and I looked at the pictures and thought it was the correct one. As you can see in this picture, phase 1 got the indicator looking like this, where the metalwork goes all the way down there. On this it doesn't, and luckily it is the correct one. But it is different, and I don't know if it will matter anything. There's one difference that I can see, at least. This got a hole right there and nothing here. On the old one, there's no hole, and it got a ledge that I presume the bumper will rest on. I'm just gonna act like I didn't see this for now and try to install it. If this is the only difference and it actually matters, I could just cut this off and weld it onto this one or something like that. Just create the lip down here. We're just gonna have to see. But there's one thing that I want to do, and that is this over here, the riveted nut is missing. I don't have something to rivet a new one in, so I'm going to cut this off and weld it onto this. Then I'm going to clamp it together with the old part. I will also just clamp it right here. So now I know the position is pretty much perfect. It is lining up on all edges and so on. So what I want to do is to just do a small cut right there. Like so. And because I made a cut right there, it is now at the same level pretty much, so I'm going to give it a dot of weld right there. It's going to be on the edge and quite thin, so I'm going to use a piece of brass on the back side, like so, just to avoid it burning. There we go. With that one done, I'm going to continue the cut, trying to not cut into this weld. It's going to be a little bit difficult. I'm going to go slightly at an angle. There we go. I'm all the way through over here now. So I should be able to undo this gently and then pull the old part on the rear slightly away so that I can align the two pieces, the old and the new, and give that a weld. I didn't really remove enough paint, so I'm gonna make the weld right there. That will probably melt away the rest of it. Like so. So now it's attached in the correct position. I should be able to remove the old part on the rear. Like so. And it's aligned in the correct position, and I can just go ahead and weld it all up. So there we go. It's on. Of course it needs some paint. This is where it will probably like to start rusting. What I'm gonna do is to actually paint this entire side blue, but with the wrong color. I don't have the correct match yet. I hope to get that in the future, but it will be difficult to get the paint in here, so I'm just gonna paint it with the wrong color. It's not a horrible match, so it won't be noticeable, and then it will be easier to paint the rest of it later on. But firstly, I need to clean this up and give this some rust protection paint. So what I want to do next while that paint dries is I want to bleed the rear brakes. What I want to do is to put the suspension in high. That way it should be possible to bleed it without having any load on the rear axle or anything. I'm just going to put that into high. Then I have installed this prop on the brake pedal just to depress the brake pedal a bit, so I can just open the bleed screw and bleed some oil out of it. Actually, I'm not even sure that I have to start the engine because I have new accumulator sphere, so there should be some pressure in it still. I'm just going to try because it's a lot more nice to not have to do that. I would like to take out quite a bit of oil just to make sure that the old is out of the system. Oh yeah, it's running just fine. Wait a second, nothing is in focus. I'm just going to redo that. Sorry about that. But as you can see, it's coming out even though the engine is not running because there's pressure in the system still. I'm removing some like that. Gonna do the same on the other side, and then the brake system is bled. So this proves that it's not necessary to have weight on the rear axle, it just needs to be in high. Then it will work just fine. That is a whole lot easier. So I'm waiting for the paint to dry, and the time is up pretty much for today, so I will fit the wing tomorrow. But while bleeding the brakes, I really got annoyed by that sound from the engine. Or maybe not annoyed, but worried that I was correct about where it came from. As I mentioned, I think it come from the oil pump or the generator. So what I have done now is that I have removed the belt from both of them. And then I'm gonna fire it up and see if it sounds better, because I really want to rule out that it's the water pump, for instance, or the idle or the tensioner pulley, because that could be very bad. So I'm gonna fire it on. Yeah, and I can already now hear that it's way better. And actually, I knew it would be nice, because I have already tested it before turning on the camera. I took off the belt for the hydraulic pump. It made it sound a little better, but it was still a bit groany. Then I took it off from the generator and it disappeared. Maybe it will go away. I know the battery is very flat, so it could also be producing quite a lot of power at the moment. Maybe it will be better. Or I can live with it as long as I know it's not the cam belt. Thank you for watching. One last thing. I made this silly thing from the previous video. The Terminator, the Citroenator, the Rise of the Suspension t-shirt. This will be available in my shop now. If you want to support the BX and me, go ahead and buy this. There's a link down in the description, right down there. See you in the next one.